Are you a current Redtail user and having trouble trying to figure out how do I break out my client segmentation and also keep track and organize as well as run reports inside of your CRM? Well, if that's you, in today's video, we're going to be talking about how you can go into Redtail, build out these customizations, keep track of it, and then also run reports on your client segmentation. Hey, it's Matthew. If you're looking to build workflows that actually work and help your firm scale and grow, please feel free to grab your copy of Mastering Strategies to Avoid the RA Disaster. The link will be in the description below. And if you're serious about building workflows, processes, and automations for your firm, let's connect. Schedule an intro call with us using the link in our description below, and we'd be more than happy to get to know you and your firm. All right, now back to the video. So right now we are on Joe Schmo, our example client here. And when we talk about client segmentation, that can mean a lot of different things to a lot of different firms like yourself. So we know firms that like to break out client segmentation based off of maybe just AUM. Some firms introduce the idea of the complexity of a planning client. So if you know that they're a basic planning client, like you go through basic income, tax, and estate planning, you may want to categorize them as a very easy tier 2 type of client. But if you know there's some complexity there with like some insurance planning, maybe some really in-depth tax planning strategies that you're trying to introduce with this client, that could be another portion of your client segmentation matrix that you may want to include and think about with your team. So another portion of client segmentation, and you may want to introduce into your segmentation matrix, is how many new clients and how many people are my existing clients referring over to me. So if we know that Joe Schmo is an existing client, and let's say in the past year he's already referred 5 new clients that actually converted over from prospects to clients, that could be also a portion that you want to consider when you're talking about your client segmentation matrix. But in today's video, again, we're going to be focusing on how do you actually keep track of that segmentation inside of your Redtail CRM. So we'll go ahead and show you how to do that. So on the profile here under our contact details, I'm going to go ahead and click on this blue button called Edit. And once I click on that, it's going to give me a lot of different options, a lot of information here. So you'll see we have the status as active. We have our category, which is where you're going to want to put your client segmentation. So here we have the client tier number 1, tier number 2, tier number 3. And if you don't have these already set up, let's go ahead and show you how you can actually make those distinctions. So if you go ahead and click on the top right where your name is, and then go to manage your account, it's going to bring up this page, and what we're going to do here is scroll all the way down to the bottom here, and we're going to click on under admins only, manage database list. So once we click on that and it loads here, we're going to show you exactly under the contacts, categories. This will give you the ability to make those edits, and just like what we were talking about before, breaking out your client segmentation, whether your matrix is very basic and easy, or we've seen a lot of firms introduce this other idea where they mark their tiers as a plus as well. So what we mean by that is if I know I have a current tier 3 client, maybe they're barely at the minimum for assets under management, but I know in the next 2 years they're going to retire and roll over some assets for us to manage, that could be an option for you to categorize them as a tier 3 plus. So I'll show you that here. So we'll add them as a tier 3 plus here. And this is, again, just for internal purposes. Ultimately they are a tier 3, but if you want a way to easily identify the clients that are existing today that have the potential to move up from a 3 plus up to a 2, this could be a great way for you to manage that process inside of your CRM. So we'll go ahead and also mark and create another category here for a tier 2 plus. And again, in this example, they're an existing tier 2, but we know they have potential to move up to a tier 1. And then tier 1s here, we've seen some advisors out there when they're building out their CRM, they'll still like to put a tier 1 plus, even though you can't move past the tier 1. They just want to show those clients they show additional love to. Maybe they're just very at the top, they're very complex, and maybe they helped you out in the beginning of your career when you started in the industry. So you want to distinguish them and make sure, hey, like if we're going to be offering, let's say, tickets to a sporting event, and we want to identify who we should be doing that to, then we know that we can run a report here on our tier 1 plus clients. So now that we've actually built out these customizations here inside of the Redtail CRM, we're going to go ahead and show you on the Reports tab, how do you actually build out the report now to show my tier 1s, 2s, and 3s. So we'll go ahead and click on the button right here, Reports, and then what we're going to do is go and look for the contact reports, and we're going to look at the contacts by categories report. If you want to favorite this, you can always click the little star button here, and then you'll see that it pops up on the top now with my favorited reports. So go ahead and actually click on that. And once we're brought here, give it a moment to think, we're going to actually filter out all of the different types of categories. So I want to make sure that we're only reporting on active clients. So I'll go ahead and click on active. And then here, I'm going to select all of these custom categories that I've already built out here. And the source, I don't really care where they came from. I'm just going to go ahead and save and apply this filter. And you can go ahead and call this active and then clients. So we'll save and apply that filter. So now we should see a view of all of our active clients. So here I see the categories as a tier 1, tier 2, but if you want to actually see some more information, or maybe you want to export this information and see it in a different way, we're going to actually show you how to do this through a contact report on the next page. So let's go ahead and go to the contacts tab here. So on the left hand side, click on contacts, and then we're going to click on advanced search. So once I go ahead and click on advanced search, we're going to have the ability to actually run a custom report, and we're going to pause the video here, build that report out for you, and then we're going to show you exactly how you can run it inside of your own Redtail CRM. So we went ahead and built out the report inside of Redtail here, so we'll show you exactly what you need to do to actually get this data. So for each different client type here, so again we have our tier 1 plus, tier 1, tier 2 plus, tier 2, tier 3 plus, and then tier 3. We're going to be doing the exact same thing for each of them. So the first thing is to identify the type. So we're going to be looking again for the contact, and the field that we're going to be specifically looking for is the category, and then we want to make sure that it is equal to the client tier 1 plus. So you'll see that this is the same for every single type of client that we have. And the next thing, we're just going to want to make sure that all of these contacts' status are active. So the second thing that we will do is called an AND function. So we'll click on AND. So I'll show you an example here. If I click on AND, it'll show up below here. And I can also further filter down if needed. But in our case, we're just going to be doing one AND function. And then the type, again, is going to be contact. This field that we're looking for is going to be the status, and we want to make sure that that is equal to active. Now, if you just want to show all active and inactive clients, then you wouldn't have to actually filter out and use the AND function here. You would just search for the contact category that is equal to the tier 1 plus, or the tier 1, tier 2 plus, and so on. So once we go ahead and run that report here, we should be left with our list of clients. So again, below here we have Joe Schmo and Jane Schmo. So they both are existing clients. They're both tier 1s here. And if I want to select them all, we can actually do whatever we need to. If we need to do bulk actions here, we can definitely do bulk actions. If you just want to actually export that data, then you can also export that data as needed. But again, this is just the way to actually break out your client segmentation inside of your Redtail CRM. You and your team may have to talk about those challenges and how do you actually break the clients out. It all starts with actually coming up with your client segmentation matrix. And again, those three main things that we see a lot of firms take into consideration is the assets that are under management, the complexity of financial planning, and then lastly, maybe how many referrals that individual client has provided to you in the past year. Thanks for sticking around towards the end of the video here. We know that we provide a lot of content here on Redtail CRM, other advisor tech tools that you may be utilizing. So if you wouldn't mind, please subscribe to our YouTube channel. And if your firm is also facing these types of challenges and you want to be able to speak with us, by all means, please feel free to schedule an introductory call with us. We'd be more than happy to talk about those challenges and how we can actually help you build out your Redtail CRM and integrate some other tools as well that's going to help your firm grow.